Hi everyone, Andrea here from Elite Business Performance, and today I want to share the results from the impact of COVID-19 on the workforce employee survey. 44% of respondents were essential workers, so they're still working in the community. 22% were furloughed or fired because of COVID-19. 15% are currently working from home because their company is allowing them to telework because of COVID. 6% were already working from home, and then 13% includes those that were previously unemployed and self-employed. So right now, I want to go through the top 7 questions with you. Question number 1. What is your greatest source of anxiety or concern regarding working now? 48% of respondents said their health or their family's health. 22% mentioned financial challenges. 13% said interacting with people, so having to talk and interact with people that could be infected with COVID. 6% mentioned childcare concerns or concerns about schools being closed. 5% said finding a job. So as we break down the employment status of those as they answered this question, it was quite interesting to see that essential workers, for them, the trend was their health or their family's health being their main concern, followed by interacting with other people. And one of the trends that came through was that several essential workers felt that their employer was not providing safety and following the CDC guidelines. One of the comments left mentioned, the anxiety in getting up daily for work is becoming a mental challenge. Another person said, I've tested positive for COVID-19 and may have gotten it from my place of employment. And so essential workers were most concerned about their health and their interaction with others. Those that were furloughed did prioritize financial challenges because they have been let go of or they've lost their income because of COVID. Then 28% of them were most likely to say health in their family's health. When we look at men versus women, men and women ranked their health and their family's health first, followed by financial challenges. And so they ranked very similar in how they answered the question. Question number 2. Hypothetically, if restrictions were lifted next week and you were asked to work face-to-face with people, customers and coworkers, how would you feel? And this question was answered by those that are safe at home. So they're working remotely or they're working from home, or they have been unemployed and so they're safe at home. 75% of respondents mentioned that they would be nervous or afraid. 13% said that they would be happy to go back to work. 7% mentioned that they were indifferent to it, followed by several people that said that they would refuse to go back to work. And this question does imply that cases are still high or very uncertain in the US. This question is important because by the end of this week, several businesses in multiple states will be reopening, and it's important for businesses to note that several of those employees are going to be nervous or afraid, and with that comes costly errors and mistakes that may be made by employees because they may prioritize their health over ensuring their cash drawer is correct or ensuring that they're delivering great customer service because they want to get someone out of the facility that is sick. And so 75% of the people that are currently safe at home said that they would be nervous or afraid to go back to work. Question number 3. The CDC recommends using masks and social distancing. How could these recommendations affect your ability to perform your job? 44% of respondents said that there would be no impact to my job, but 33% said that it would be difficult for them to do their job. 10% said it would be impossible for them to do their job. And then 10% actually said, well, I don't want to do my job if I have to be around people. So it's important to note that 53% of the respondents reflected that using masks and social distancing would have a direct impact on their ability to do their job. So this means companies must address these concerns before you open up, because there might be changes to an employee's job description. It might be some accommodations that have to be made to ensure the safety of your employees and your customers. Question number 4. Do you plan on working the same number of hours or schedule you worked previously? 57% said that their schedule would return to normal. But 43% mentioned that they were unsure and they didn't know what their schedule would be like. And some of them even mentioned that they would want to modify their schedule. So some people did reflect that if they're working remotely right now, they might want that same flexibility from time to time. So this does let me know that employees are either unsure if they're ready to go back to work, or they're unsure because they have childcare concerns. Not everyone is going to be able to go back to work. So there are a lot of things we have to consider, because right now there's a large amount of people that will not be able to go to work as expected. Question 5. As a result of this pandemic, what characteristics do you value most in a boss or supervisor? Communication, compassion, understanding, flexibility, and safety were the most popular characteristics. As we break it down by the type of worker, it was interesting to see that essential workers were most likely to say understanding and compassion. A lot of them expressed in the comment section that they did not feel heard, or they did not have employees that were being understanding. So I want to read a quote to you. I almost quit my job because I was scared to continue going into work and interacting with 100+ people per day. And I felt embarrassed and belittled when voicing my concerns. So essential workers were most likely to rank understanding and compassion higher. As we look at furloughed and those that have been laid off, they were most likely to state communication. And it's interesting because if you look at when a company needs to lay off workers, sometimes we step back and we avoid interacting with them. And it does come across in the survey that many of those that were furloughed or fired, they are craving and wanting communication. And at that point, most of them are not getting it. And as we look at those that are currently working from home, they were most likely to state they wanted understanding from their boss. So if someone has children and now the children are working from home as well as that individual, many of them expressed understanding from their boss. And a lot of that is trust, knowing that they're still working, knowing that even if they can't work at a certain time, that they're still going to get the work done on time. They also were more likely to list communication and flexibility. Working from home for those that traditionally work outside of home is still a new process, and there's a new level of stress that comes with that, and it did come through in the survey. Question number 6, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, what do you value most in your job or career? The top responses were money and benefits, job security, flexibility, a positive work environment, and health and safety. Health and safety is the newest topic that is coming across from this question because of the situation right now. Question number 7, our last question. What measures can employers take to create a safe and normal work environment through COVID-19? Regarding the responses, really what the respondents are asking for is safety. They're wanting employers to limit exposure or allow them to work from home if possible. They're wanting PPE. They're wanting to adhere to the expert health guidelines. So the CDC, federal and state guidelines, they're wanting to make sure that their workplace is cleaned and sanitized. And then they're wanting the communication to understand what's going on. And in my experience, the communication issue could be that it's not flowing all the way from the top to the bottom of the organization. So there may be companies at the leadership that says, we're going to follow the CDC guidelines, we're going to do this, but if an individual manager is not implementing and following through on what the company has said, that very well could be a cause for how some companies and some employees feel that communication is an issue. So when I take a look at the survey, I'm seeing the need for safety, the need to feel that they and their life is valued by their employer. So to sum all of this up, I'm going to use Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we start at the bottom, we all have our physiological needs, our need for food and for air, for health. So these are our basic needs for survival. If I don't have food, if I can't breathe, then I cannot survive. Next, we have safety and security. So it's the need to feel safe, whether that's physically or even from an employer standpoint, having job security. So the need to not feel that I'm going to be laid off at any moment. So because of these two areas, our employees cannot reach their fullest potential. The pandemic is affecting our finances. So some employees are struggling to pay for food, and because of COVID, they're worried about their health, and many of them are and have been sick. Next, if we're not creating a safe environment, so they don't have PPE, we're not following safety guidelines to keep them safe, and then from the company standpoint, they don't have job security, then we will only get very minimal productivity. But in order to make it through a recession, to get back to work and making money, we have to ensure that we have employees that can be productive, that can think innovatively and are involved and committed to the process of showing up, committing to helping the company get back to business. And so we have to be sure every company is addressing the physiological needs and the need for safety. Otherwise, we're wasting our time and our money. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation of the results from the impact of COVID-19. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Please feel free to email me, reach out to me on LinkedIn, or visit my website. Thank you so much.